going on, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of Mostly Wrong Opinions. I am Tyrone. That is Devin. Wait! Before we get started on this film that's hit the theaters this weekend, can you please hit that subscribe button right down there? It really helps us out. We really enjoy it. Now, the movie that's out right now that everyone is talking about, it is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Hey, little darling, don't shed no tears. No woman, no cry.
FYI, as we move forward, full spoilers. We are not holding back. We're talking about the movie.
You know, as we all know, Chadwick Boseman passed away. The script for the second film was already done. And so Ryan Coogler and his team had to go back to the drawing board and write a whole new film. But also, they wanted to keep the memory of Chadwick, you know, within the story. And that's very understandable. I have to admit, it did get me a little bit with the teary eyes. So are the actors acting or are they mourning on camera? It was a heavy film.
I felt a lot of things in this movie, and the overwhelming majority of my feelings, I'll be blunt, were boredom. I was bored. This is a long, boring film for your boy. I liked the very beginning, and the movie wants you to hang on to that. And for a lot of people, I bet they will. That very beginning with the funeral and all that stuff. But after that, there is a clean hour of this film that needs to be cut. Almost everything with Riri Williams gotta go. What was that?
It was not needed for all that to be inside in there. And a lot of people say she looked like Mega Man.
But and also everything with Everett Ross gotta go. What was that?
So, Thunderbolts lady.
This committed every MCU foul I can think of. It was trying to set up chess pieces for future movies. And actually, now that when I was thinking about it in the film, I was like, it wasn't even setting up future movies. It was trying to set up a whole new phase, because this was the end of phase 4. And I can feel this movie like shifting things around. And I gotta say, I don't like that stuff, man. I don't like it. And I want to watch this movie. I don't want to watch the promise of a Riri Williams Disney Plus show. I don't want to watch the promise of a Thunderbolts movie with featuring Everett Ross's ex-wife. Didn't know that. I don't want to watch the promise of M'Baku potentially becoming king. I would like to watch this movie. And this movie was concerned with a lot of things that weren't this film. One was the big one that no one could really get around, and it's that Chadwick Boseman died. And I thought they handled that really well. I thought the movie had a lot of weight to it, and like you said, a lot of emotion around Chadwick Boseman's real life death and the death of his character T'Challa within the MCU. But then when it came down to brass tacks, when it was time to finally move the movie forward, the movie was like, it was like smoking and popping, and I'm like, what is this? So I guess overall, my feelings toward the film are really, really mixed. I love Namor. I loved everything about Namor. I thought all that stuff was great.
Hold on. When you say you love Namor, Namor was not Namor. As we see in the comics, and Marvel can take the characteristics of a character and change it to fit the movie, and that's exactly what they did. Because apparently, from what I've known of Namor, he was a jackass. In the comics, he's a narcissistic, I know it all. So that wasn't anything in this film. He was more sympathetic to his people. He was more concentrating on his nation, and he will do anything to protect his people, even if it means starting war with another country.
Now, what character does that sound like? Black Adam. So why was he a better Black Adam than Black Adam was? So that's kind of why I liked him. But you're right. His asshole douchebag nature was not on display. And I was kind of concerned about that in the middle of the film. But then they kind of made it seem like he might have been trying to play Wakanda. And I'm like, all right, so maybe they're doing something a little different. I'm okay with that. Again, like I don't think you've got to be a slave to the comic books. I'm okay with changes, but I like Namor. I liked his background. I liked his motivation. I liked how his crazy chemistry with Shuri. I liked all that stuff. But you know what? That came almost an hour deep into the film. We didn't get a proper introduction to Namor until almost an hour into this film. Now he shows up, right? He's in silhouette, and he pops out of the water and says some cold shit to the queen. But outside of that, we don't really get to understand Namor until really late into, or I guess not even late into the film, but until like an hour into the film. I was gonna say it was happened late in the film, but it didn't happen late in the film because this is a long ass film. The actor who's I can't pronounce his name, so I should look it up. I'll do better next time, I promise.
Please welcome Tenoch Huerta.
But the actor who played Namor, I'd never even seen this man before.
Apparently, from the soap operas in Mexico.
Yeah, he came from the soap operas. I know he's done some TV. I thought he was awesome. I thought he was great. He came off as very charming, you know, and very likable, which, to your point, isn't really Namor, right? Namor's kind of a douchebag,
yeah,
you know?
exactly.
But I kind of like that he was charming, but he still had the knife behind his back. You know what I mean? So
yes.
So for that, I give him major props for that, and I give the film major props for that. On top of the slowness of the film, I also thought the movie had weird design choices. Like I love Namor. I thought his design choices were fantastic. Who designed that Midnight Angel outfit? Who designed that?
Oh,
that was embarrassing.
I was comparing the Midnight Angel suit to the water monster that was in Hellboy.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was like, they really put that on film. And so after that, I was really curious. I was like, let me go see what these things look like in the comic book. And you know what? They're pretty comic book faithful. But you know what? That's an ugly design. That's awful. I just couldn't believe that was, they put the most badass character in that suit.
After she was fired.
I was okay with her being fired, but her being in that suit was a sin. I'm like, oh. Now again, I'm not trying to say I hated the film. I didn't. I was just disappointed because I was expecting something akin to Black Panther 1. And what I got was a Marvel movie. and I was disappointed by that.
I do not think that this is a perfect film. I just feel like it's a more thoughtful film for Chadwick, for a more thoughtful film. And it was slow because of that thoughtfulness. And I do understand that.
I'm not even sure if that's where it was slow. I feel like I gotta watch it again. I liked all the stuff they did with Chadwick. I was engaged with that. It was the actual film. It was when they finally got moved past it and started talking about the film. It was like the movie had to start over again. It was like the first 30 minutes were like a prelogue or something. And then once the movie gets started, it's got to start again. And to me, at that point in any other film, we would be, the tension should be rising, right? But instead, it was like, it was going down. And I think another thing that dragged for me was, while I enjoyed Letitia Wright's performance,
great performance.
I'm not sure, I've never seen her carry a whole film before.
No.
And I'm not sure if she's the right person to do that. Especially when you've got Lupita Nyong'o right there. You know what I'm saying? She's right there. No, she did fine. You know what I mean? But she's got to follow up freaking Chadwick Boseman. But I did like how they talked about her version of the Black Panther. And this is, to me, the best part of the film, outside of Namor, was that because of all the tragedy that she's seen, right? Yeah. She saw the death of her brother. She saw the death of her mother by the hands of Namor right in front of her. And so she's very angry and vengeful. And you don't know whether or not she's going to flip and turn into a villain. Now, that I loved. That was, to me, that was the height of the film. When I was like, oh, is Shuri going to be like a bad Black Panther? And then she goes to the ancestral plane, and we get a cool cameo by Killmonger. And I'm like, oh, so she saw Killmonger instead of her brother, instead of her mother, instead of her father. She saw Killmonger. So I'm like, okay, to me, this is where things were cooking, you know? And
I agree.
To me, that almost saved the film. her suit still had like little markings on her face that she wore during the funeral. Like, I loved all that.
Would you say that concept, sir, had a similar concept to
The Last of Us? Why is that?
She saw her people gone. She saw her people die, and all she wanted was just vengeance.
I see what you're saying.
As Ellie just wanted vengeance for Joel's death.
Yep. Yeah, I can totally see what you're saying. In The Last of Us Part 2, you're right. At the end, Ellie does not go through with the vengeance because she realizes this won't solve anything, right?
No.
And matter of fact, it'll probably just make shit worse. It'll keep the horror flowing. And so she stopped. And Letitia Wright's character, Shuri, did the same thing.
Had him dead by the nail.
Yeah, you're right. And she stopped herself. So that stuff I liked. It was the MCU-ness of the modern MCU-ness of this.
Yeah,
that bothered me. Do you mind if we talk about the MCU for just a second? Do we widen it out just a touch?
Yeah, let's talk about that mess.
So this is the end of Phase 4. And I got to say, now that we can finally see all of Phase 4 together, not a hot take at all. This is the worst phase for Marvel. But Black Panther 2 is probably the best movie in Phase 4.
I'm saying a lot.
Yeah. I'm like, who's second best? It's probably Shang-Chi for me.
Shang-Chi, yeah. There we go.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Shang-Chi, you're right. So Marvel's in a funny place, right? Like, and for Black Panther to succumb, I guess I should say, to Marvel's,
just say succumb, yeah.
To Marvel's worst impulses, just like the rest of Phase 4, is disappointing. I was really let down by that.
I do agree with you with can Letitia Wright, hold her own and be the star of her own film. I don't think necessarily. I think that she did the best with what she got in this film.
She did,
and it was good.
It was.
But I have
not dogging Letitia Wright. I don't want anybody to get me wrong. I just think Lupita Nyong'o was a better choice. That's all.
Exactly. I think that if anybody deserves the most praise, it is Angela Bassett.
Oh my God! Yeah. Holy ball! First of all, can we get this out of the way? Like, Angela Bassett, fine. And she's like 65.
She's like 65 years old. Exactly.
Yeah.
Forget hey auntie, hey grandma.
Yeah. Yeah. You see her arms, boy? She was like, I'm a queen. I was like, yo. She's ripped.
Exactly.
Angela Bassett operating on another level that no one else is touching.
I would want her to get an Oscar nod out of this. Because, she deserves it. Now, spoiler alert. Some people I have read that they did not feel that they needed to kill her in this film. But maybe I think that should have happened to be the catalyst to Shuri.
I'm right there. Exactly. I don't care if they kill her. I don't know if you know this, but she's a fictional character. So they could kill her as long as her death means something, and it meant a lot to Shuri. So for that, I think it was I co-sign on that decision.
But the whole Riri Williams things was a advertisement for the future.
Yeah,
and her suit was ugly, and I was just like, y'all could do better. She could have something to introduce her in her own thing. Like they could have did the reverse thing of like they did with Miss Marvel. Gave Miss Marvel a show and introduced her in the Marvels.
Sure, they could have done that. Or they just could have treated her like a character. She feels like a promise for something in the future. But she didn't feel like a character in this film. If you cut out every single one of her scenes, nothing changes. So I'm like, that means you need to cut that, right? That feels superfluous. And that does drag the movie down. That makes you feel bored because even if you're not consciously aware of it, you're like, where are we going? What are we doing? Why are we here? What is this? Why are we hanging out in this garage for so long?
Everyone, even my esteemed co-host here, has said several times after the passing of Chadwick Boseman that the role of T'Challa is too important to Black Panther and it needs to be recast. How about that end credit scene, huh?
The end credit scene was interesting. So this was like Marvel having their cake and eating it too, right?
Yeah.
They get to mourn the passing of T'Challa while also still having T'Challa. You know, and they had an interesting little wrinkle too with Namor being like ageless. So if they do a time jump, which there is a rumor, there is a time jump coming. That's the rumor. If they do a time jump, we could still get your Black Panther Namor face off.
And it's Black Panther T'Challa versus.
You're right. Thank you very much.
Yes.
T'Challa Namor face off. And that makes me smile. If this is the way they're going to do it, fine. You know, but my first thought though, when I saw it, I was like, another super baby?
That's your first thought when you saw it?
Yeah. I was like, are you kidding me? Iron Man's got a super baby. Hawkeye's got a super baby. Thor's got a super baby.
Oh, they ain't got no super baby.
Who?
Well, yeah. I forgot.
So I'm like, what is with all the super babies? And then I was like, right, there's a rumor that there's going to be a time jump. So I'm like, maybe everybody will be recast and aged up, and this will be the soft reboot for the MCU at some point in the future. So if that does happen, then fine. But like I said, you can feel Marvel moving chess pieces in place, right? Don't worry, we've got it T'Challa. You know, don't worry, Namor can't age. You know, things like that. I can feel them sliding things into place, which is just like bad Marvel, bad down. Is this my preferred way of getting T'Challa back into the MCU? No, I would prefer to recasting, but this is kind of a soft recasting.
Let's go ahead and go into the rating of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Everyone in this film did a really good job acting, especially Angela Bassett. Blew up the whole thing.
Unnecessary too. Like she wasn't even like the third-rate character. She was like in the background.
and you know, M'Baku did a good job with a lot of the comedy within this. I was a little off-put with some of the CGI. You can tell they were like on the freaking set. Of course, we always talk about Marvel lighting. It's bad. Yeah. And the story within this story made this slow. That was really bad, and the whole Riri Williams thing was not needed. But I'm giving this film points for everything Ryan Coogler had to do after the passing of Chadwick Boseman. So I'm going to give this film a B-.
You took the words out of my mouth. B-. I wish I could tell you that this movie was as good as Black Panther, but it's not. And I wonder what this movie will look like to people in the future, right? Someone online brought up a really good point that in 10 years from now, kids who aren't even born yet, who may not be aware that Chadwick Boseman was alive, when they watch this film, what would their reaction be? Would they be like, why did they kill T'Challa in between these films? The movie is very much a movie of its time. And just like a lot of Marvel films, right? They're like bubblegum, right? You chew them now, but you can't come back to them, right? The flavor's gone, right? So Black Panther is very much a movie of this moment. And I don't know if that same flavor is going to carry forward. But we are in this moment, and right now, I thought the movie was okay. You know, it was okay.
It was okay, but it wasn't Black Adam okay.
Yeah. It's still Marvel still operates on a higher level than like Black Adam right
okay.
now. You know what I mean?
Because there was no even inkling of a story within that film.
Yeah.
So
and this movie did Black Adam better than Black Adam did, right? With Namor, you know, with the king who's willing to burn the world to save his people, like that should have been Black Adam, you know. But this film commits all the Marvel sins, every single one, all in a row. Weird costume design, setting up for the future, super babies, the whole thing. To me, this was a very Marvel film for me. And all of that weighed down a movie that should have been better.
That shows you that Marvel has a lot to do. They're always going to be on top, to be honest with you.
I don't know if they're always going to be on top. I don't know about that.
I think they will be.
What do you mean by on top? Do you mean by financially?
I think not just by financially, it's going to be on top for popularity, because just as we said before, you know, with kids watching movies now, this is their only taste of what a film is. They don't have a taste for The Hateful Eight. They don't have the taste for all the old films like Jackie Brown.
But by that metric, on top, the number one movie on top, the best movie ever by that metric would be Avatar. And Avatar has no footprint at all in movie history whatsoever, except that it was the most popular film to ever release. So I think that is probably more of Marvel's future, making a lot of money, being very popular at the time, but ultimately forgotten. They need to take more risks, and make harder, more interesting stories. And I was hoping they would do that with Black Panther 2, but they didn't. More of the same.
Sorry. I know it hurts, my black people. I know it hurts to hear two of your people say that about it, but it is what it is. It wasn't a great film. It was a good film. Do you recommend it?
Yes, I recommend it.
And I also recommend people go and see this in the theater. I gave this film a B-. Devin gave this film a B-, and we do recommend you do check this out. And that was our review for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Appreciate you. So please, can you hit that subscribe button at the bottom? It's right down there. Okay. And continue our rise on the subscriber increase. We really do appreciate you. And if you did like this video, please hit that thumbs up. It really does help out this channel. Or you can hit the thumbs down, whichever you choose. It is your opinion. Just remember one thing, it is mostly wrong. Have a good day. Peace.